Welcome to the studio, my guest, Kwame Ulmer. Kwame, thanks for coming by.
Can't wait to get this party started.
When we spoke last year, the MedTech study was just beginning. You and Jennifer McCaney were starting out. How has that story unfolded?
Wonderfully. In partnership with Christian Johnson, Dr. Jennifer McCaney and I, with BCG, put together a 44-plus page report that answers some key questions for the industry. I'm not going to steal any of the report's thunder. It's on BCG's website. But we answer questions like, in the last decade, what's the median time to get a 510K device from concept to commercialization? Same question for de novo devices. How much capital is needed? It's a treasure trove of information that I hope a lot of stakeholders can access and use.
Well, that's kind of interesting, Kwame. You talk about 510K, you're throwing around, I think that's FDA. You know a little bit about that. So how did that feel being, your FDA genetic makeup, looking at this? How did that change your view of the agency and your work there?
Well, it gave me a lot of joy. I had been working with the FDA for 12 years and was there when some of the reforms that have resulted in some key findings about whether FDA is a friend or foe can now be shared. I'm happy that the reforms have taken root, and now companies are opting to start in the US more than start in the EU. And that's what the research has borne out.
See, now you're baiting me because I remember those days whenever it was, usually it's a US start, FDA's first, 510K, rest of the planet. But there was a huge shift. All of a sudden, CE mark became the way to go. And I'm a patent guy. We had no strategy for that.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of scrambling that went on. And a lot of companies it was like an imposed pivot. So you think those days are over?
I think so. And the research will bear that out. Each reader can come to their own conclusions, but we asked people qualitatively and quantitatively what they think of the FDA and looked at the numbers. And we believe that folks are opting to start in the FDA like they did years ago.
Did you feel like, or maybe you covered this, there are a lot of programs now, I think FDA has gone over and above in their outreach and I got to get your tagline in here. Before you talk to the FDA, talk to the FDA. No charge.
Yeah, thank you.
But I think FDA in this interim period, I think FDA they came out of their shell a little bit. I think there's more programs now for companies to talk to the agency, not really off the record, but not within the process, to learn and make sure that they're heading the right way.
Yeah. So I've been with and in this industry before user fees and after user fees. And one of the benefits of user fees is they've been able to support more issuance of guidance, more clear guidelines for when the FDA has to respond to companies. And all this over the last 10 years has resulted in more transparency, more predictability. And it's not just me saying it. That's what the companies are telling us. From more clarity around the de novo program to a real uptick in pre-submission meetings to even use of programs like the 513G program. The FDA really, in my humble estimation, has put tax dollars to work to really fully inform innovators in a better way.
That sounds like some great progress is being made. I look forward to digging in on that report. What else has been going on with you? MedTech Color is out there, Wavemaker 360. What else? Tell me more.
So I love to share what's happened since we last spoke with MedTech Color. At this point, we've invested over $350,000 in hard dollars and in-kind services to 20 companies that are led or controlled by African Americans or Latinx people of color. These are early stage companies. The money in in-kind services is nice, but what's even more transformative is the relationship with our corporate partners. ResMed has donated several times at this point and will run two of our companies through their corporate accelerator. The top 10 from our competition get fast-tracked into MedTech Innovator. All these things are way more powerful than just a check alone, and we're off to the races.
Where are they located? Where are these companies located?
They're in California, Detroit, really across the country. And that's another great thing about this program. We're finding people not just on the coast, we're finding them in these developing, emerging parts of the country and connecting them to people, service providers, corporate leaders who can really get them to the next meaningful milestone.
Yeah, I love the idea of when I think about ecosystem, that's the way I think about it, is you can have your idea. Why do I got to move? Why can't I have my idea where I grew up? Why can't I have my idea right here where I can serve my community and start there? And I think that's one of the things that I see in the work that you're doing. That's a great way to begin that, to show some wins in that local community. And then people follow that. And, oh, I can do that too.
A great example of that, Ben, is Candlelit. They were our #1 winner. It's a digital health solution for mothers of color who suffer from postpartum depression. She was not only awarded the top prize for MedTech Color, but she also was entered into ResMed's Corporate Accelerator and Fast Track to MedTech Innovator. And I think there's 1 or 2 other prizes I'm forgetting. But the whole community is rallied around this idea of better mental health solutions. And she's starting in this population, which is much in need. And it was born out of her own experience.
Yeah, those are always the best stories. The innovator that has a family member or themselves says, you know what? My experience in the healthcare system, not so good.
That's so good.
I'm going to change that. Kwame, I like the way that you talk about the founder of Candlelight Therapies, realizing through her own experience the need that others have. And it's a great way for other entrepreneurs to come together, and you're doing that with MedTech Color. What else are you doing to bring that community together?
We're having our 5th annual networking breakfast in partnership with AvaMed. It'll be at the MedTech Conference in Boston in the fall. Can't tell you how excited I am about that. Previous keynote speakers have included Omar Ishrak, former CEO of Medtronic, Kevin Lobo, CEO of Stryker, and Brooke Story, who runs the diagnostic business for BD.
Wow, that's quite a lineup. How many people come in for that?
Well, this year we're targeting over 200. We think with COVID subsiding, we think we'll get closer to 300.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. And that's what a great conference to do it in. What a great conference to do it.
Yeah.
What else is going on with you? Wavemaker 360, you got any time for that anymore?
Yes, I spend a great deal of time with Wavemaker 360. I've met with over 15 companies during this conference, and we are investing in medtech, digital health, and diagnostic companies. Most exciting SoCal story, I think, is Carlsmed, which we invested twice in that company. They're gearing up for their Series B, and they're just off to the races. Personalized spinal devices. Second one, and met with the CEO earlier today, is Stratos, a non-invasive device to measure coughing and wheezing. And you're going to read a lot about that company as well.
Already am. I talked with Stratos this morning.
You talked with my man, Nick. All right.
Oh, yes, exactly. And then we're going to get Nick here, get him in the studio as well. I think that's another great, you can see how getting that clinical data that you're showing the physicians that you can get the results, you are showing the change in therapy. Very compelling story. What's the right time for a company to come and talk to Wavemaker 360?
When they're finished a pre-seed raise and thinking about their seed stage is a great time. Typically, you have a prototype and finishing up a manufacturable product. We'd love to meet you then.
That sounds like a great strike point.
Yeah.
All right, Kwame, thanks for coming by. Anything else you want to add?
No, I just thoroughly enjoy this, Ben, and I love what you're doing.
Kwame Ulmer in the house. Thank you for coming by the studio again.
Thank you.